Cutback for Vasilev, and Lukic! A banger of a strike for Jovan Lukic's first MLS goal!
It's fallen out to Westfield! Oh, wow! He's nearly taken the roof of the net off! Philadelphia pounce again!
Who gets his goal in his Union debut? The record signing, off and running in his first appearance for the club.
Hello and welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. My name is Todd, and as Rick Ukasik of the car says, let the good times roll as the Philadelphia Union bounced back to a 3-1 victory over Red Bull New York last night, the first win since April 11th, where they had a 2-1 comeback victory against CF Montreal. First home win in MLS this season at Subaru Park, which is pretty unheard of when not even a year ago, the Philadelphia Union won the Supporters Shield. Bradley Cornell was named the coach of the season, and Union definitely not winning the Supporters Shield this season. Bradley Cornell no longer at the club, but hey, look, Ryan Richter, first match, first game with the Philadelphia Union, and the Ryan Richter is off to a perfect 1-0 start. But no Jose Nunez tonight, as I said on Twitter for you guys that I saw that. Jose had a last-minute dinner lunch come up, and so we were going to do the show by myself, but the better half of the one team we agree on said, hey, I'll hop on and help out if you want. I can live call in or I can fill in for Jose, and so I'm joined by Jillian Omni. Jillian, how you feeling?
I'm doing well. And yeah, it is nice to, wake up in the morning thinking, oh yeah, that was a good night last night. They want, it's a good feeling. So doing well. How are you?
Tired. Honestly, so tired.
I was really tired today though, too. Not going to lie.
I know you guys take a completely different way than I do. Usually just take 95 straight back. And I'm sure a lot of you guys listen to the podcast, whether it's live or whether it's people listening back on the RSS feed. I'm sure a lot of you guys aren't heading southbound on I-95 when you guys leave Subaru Park. And my goodness, so much traffic. Usually should take me an hour at most to get home. Took me an hour and 30, and eventually it told me, yeah, just get off on 95 completely because it didn't matter if it was Delaware or Maryland. Yeah, they were doing construction on I-95 last night, and I was like, my goodness, I don't know if I can do another Wednesday game for the Philadelphia Union. But when I had that thought this morning, I'm pretty sure the Union play Inter Miami on a Wednesday, I think. So I feel like I'm going to have to go to yet again another Wednesday game this season. But look, I think it's all worth it, Jillian, when we see an exciting offensive game from the Philadelphia Union, which, let's face it, haven't really seen it that much this season. Certainly haven't seen it at Subaru Park. I believe last night was the first time this season that the Union had scored more than one goal at Subaru Park in league play. And again, 16 games now through the season, Jillian. We know this is the start of the second half of the season. I don't even want to think what the first half of the season was for the Philadelphia Union. It was that bad.
Yeah, it's something I think that everyone would just like to forget, right? Like just start fresh, just put that out of the mind. But yeah, I mean, just totally renewed energy last night. And like hearing the Dupe song play multiple times in the stadium last night, something we haven't heard in a while. Not since, obviously the Defense Force game, there was that was really the only big one there, but that was an MLS. So
yeah, exactly. And I mean, if you would have told, I think this fan base back in February, March, when they played Defense Force, would the Union only have one win in MLS in the first 15 games of the season? I think they would say, no, you're crazy. But the Union, like I said, Jillian, set the Ryan Richter era off with a perfect 1-0 start. And again, people who are just chiming in now, if you want to go ahead and call in, you have comments, questions, concerns about last night's game, would love to get you onto the show. I'll give you a link to the show on whether you can DM me on Twitter at It's a Todd's Life, at Free Kick Pod. I believe Instagram's like at It's a Todd's Life _ at Free Kick Pod on Instagram. I'll give you guys the link to request a call in with a comment, question, concern about last night's game between Philadelphia Union and New York Red Bull. But Jillian, we do have a bit of news, maybe one thing to talk about, which I'm not surprised to see this player named into Team of the Match Day. Maybe we figured the Union would get a couple more players on Team of the Match Day, but we'll go ahead and talk about that bit of news here right now. So let's get straight into the news. All right, so I think it's to nobody's surprise. Kai Wagner, very first game back for the Philadelphia Union since coming back from Birmingham City in the English Championship, earns a starting spot, nonetheless, Jillian, in the Team of the Match Day for his performance against Red Bull New York. Gets an assist, has the cross that leads to the Alowski opening goal in this match. And not even like offensively. We know what Kai brings offensively, but I think for as good as he is offensively, I think maybe this fan base forgot how well he is defensively as well. Had 5 interceptions on the night, had 7 ball recoveries. And yeah, Kai is a phenomenal defender as well. And maybe we see him step up another level defensively because of his time in England with Birmingham City. But Kai Wagner, very first game back with Philadelphia Union, once again in Team of the Match Day. And we can talk about Kai's performance here a little bit later because I do want to play the clip of his reception last night, Quinn Sullivan's reception. But any surprise, Jillian, that Kai Wagner had the type of game that he had last night for the Union?
No, not surprised at all. I mean, he's just completely a catalyst with this team. And you see, he brings not only, he brings offense, he brings defense, he brings leadership too. And they were really lacking that. I mean, Andre can only do so much being back in the goal, having Kai there as well. And I know we talked about it as well, just that he could bring that leadership. So I think that was huge too. But, I knew probably Kai was going to go and play the full 90, knowing him. I don't think he'd want to come off, but, and yeah, he made an immediate difference.
Yeah, Kai Wagner absolutely did. You have Luis Suarez there. You have Son for LAFC there. You have Griezmann, who also scores on his debut with Orlando City last night. This is a pretty star-studded Team of the Matchday squad right here for MLS. And interesting enough, they combine week 16 and 17. And I guess technically the week 16 was the Thursday and Friday game. I guess that's what we're considering week 16 for MLS. So some teams already played before everybody was back in action Wednesday night. And Kai Wagner back like he never left with the Philadelphia Union with his performance last night. And what I find interesting too, Jillian, I was going back to my articles that I wrote last year about Team of the Match Day and all that stuff. And Kai Wagner led the team with 4 Team of the Match Day honors last year. And again, first game back with the Union, first performance, first honor back into Team of the Match Day squad. So we'll see, Jillian. Half of the season left to go. Will he equal 4 that he got last year? We'll see. If he continues to play like he did last night, I'm sure Kai and some other players will continue to make Team of the Match Day honors. I'll be honest though, Jillian, I'm a little bit surprised that we didn't see a Frankie Westfield or a Kevin Sullivan in the Team of the Match Day just because of how well they played, especially on the right side of the field for the Union.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought that they could have been very deserving. I mean, of course, getting goals is going to put some of these players, more ahead there, but at least like maybe making the bench, they were super, super important. And I mean, of course, Kevin gets all the attention he does, but I think it would have been really deserved in this case too. I thought he was fantastic as well. He just gets better and better. And I just love seeing that partnership between Kevin and Frankie, which I know I asked Richter about. And I think they're going to just continue to bring that energy there and cause problems. But I think sooner or later here, at least one of those guys is probably going to be on, player of the match week soon, if they keep playing the way they are.
And full disclosure, I mean, Kevin was, when the Union played against Orlando City, it feels like forever ago, came off the bench, scored his first goal And they put Kevin on the bench in that game. And I thought Kevin was excellent coming off the bench against Orlando City. But I think it's going to be sooner rather than later that we see Kevin in a starting spot. Kevin, a little bit unfortunate too last night. Doesn't get a goal. Had a shot from distance where I thought, wow, there's no way this is going to be Ethan Horvath's. And it doesn't. He makes a save. But yeah, Kevin was a man possessed last night, just like this Philadelphia Union squad overall. But yeah, let's get into it, Jillian. Last night's game, Philadelphia Union, Red Bull New York, 3-1. Goal scorers, Milan Lasky in the 9th minute, followed by Cade Cowell in the 38th minute, Indiana Vasiljev in the 57th, and Neil Pierre comes off the bench back from Lyngby in Denmark, helping the Danish club get promoted back to the top tier flight in Denmark. Comes off the bench, scores his very first goal for the Philadelphia Union. I'm sure we'll have a lot to talk about with Neil Pierre here in a bit. But Kai Wagner, Quinn Sullivan, we knew Kai was going to start this match. I had heard that Quinn Sullivan was going to play in this match, coming off the bench in the second half of the game. But the question was, how much minutes is Quinn going to play in the match? And he comes in the 73rd minute. And I texted some people before the game. I said, what reception do you think is going to be louder? Kai's when they announce him in the starting lineup, or Quinn Sullivan's? And I think, Jillian, both of those applause from the fans around Subaru Park, which credit to the fans coming out on a midweek game. It wasn't as full as maybe the Union or the team would have liked. But hearing the reception, hearing the noise in Subaru Park, you wouldn't know that the stadium wasn't a sellout last night, Jillian. But we'll go ahead and start with the Kai Wagner introduction. We'll hear all the player introductions. So it's about a minute 30, and then we'll go and play Quinn Sullivan's a little bit later. But I want to go ahead and play the full introductions in last night's match via Kevin Casey. All right, so I think we gotta, before we talk about Kai Wagner, because that was loud, and I promise people listening to this live or on the RSS feed, I promise I did not boost the volume on that chat. It was extremely loud. You couldn't even hear Kevin Casey say Kai Wagner's name. That's how loud it was last night. But you and I looked at each other last night in the press box, Jillian, when we heard the boos for Bruno Damiani and Indiana Vasiljev, and they weren't as loud as Kai Wagner's, but they were noticeable last night. And I saw some people maybe a little bit confused, wondering why Bruno Damiani and Indiana Vasiljev were getting booed. And look, this fan base, they're Philly fans. They don't let you forget two players that they believe had a very, very, very poor first half of the season. And look, I don't want to put all the blame on just these two players. The Union overall were very poor in the first half. But Bruno Damiani, when he's your second most expensive player in team history, only scores one goal, and it comes against the very last game of the first half of the season against Inter Miami. And then Indiana Vasiljev, whose only goal on the season, does he have two? I believe he only had one coming into the game. I'll look it up here. But he had a penalty kick against New York City, if I'm not mistaken. And Yeah, the fan base is wanting more from these two players, but I feel like particularly Bruno Damiani has had so many chances and he can't find the back of the net. Has a huge chance in last night's game, Jillian, where he gets played on through goal, and all he has to do is just tap it in a corner and makes a save. Ethan Horvath's, and it's a huge wasted opportunity there for Damiani. But yeah, I don't know why I'm surprised, but I am a little bit surprised that this fan base booed Indiana Vassilev and Bruno Damiani, but they don't let you forget. Doesn't matter if you last played 2 months ago, 2 weeks ago, a day ago, they're going to let you hear it if you're not living up to the standards. And yeah, they let their concerns be heard with Damiani and Vassilev last night.
Yeah, I was at first I'm thinking, are they being like Bruno, but then I was like, I think they're booing. And yeah, Indy too. I mean, it wasn't super loud like I've heard, other times, but yeah, I was like, oh. But yeah, I mean, if you're not doing what they expect you to be doing, and that's rough. But I listening to those introductions, I think that's the first time that Cavan's been beaten with the loudness. Like the cheers for Kai were louder than Cavan's, and Cavan usually gets like a thunderous applause. But I think with Bruno, I was really hoping after he scored against Miami that, okay, now he can get it going. The problem was then they had that break. So any kind of, you know, momentum, maybe he could get started and, positivity from that. Well, okay, now they're on a break. So that was unfortunate. Because I was really hoping to see him get going because he does a lot of other work on the ball, but what he's really being paid for and expected to do, of course, is score goals as a striker. And that's what everyone notices. So, he needed to score though last night. He needed to get that in the net. Between him and Frankie, yeah, they could have easily had 2 more goals in that match.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. The Union had a huge chance 3 minutes into the game with Frankie Westfield. I mean, it's a beautiful ball played by Milan Alaski for the cut across, and the whole play starts with Andre Blake, just a goal kick up top. And yeah, we all know, especially you, Jillian, covering Union 2 and seeing Andrew Rick a lot more, I think, than a lot of people in this fan base. But it starts with a goal kick from Andre Blake, and he's not known for his distribution, but the Union do well to win the ball, and then Kevin Sullivan with a beautiful through ball in for Orlowski, and nobody tracks Frankie Westfield. And the river end, you saw them celebrating at first because they thought this was a goal. And once they saw the ball just went wide of the post, they couldn't believe that Frankie Westfield doesn't find the back of the net. And, Frankie also feels like he let him down because that's a golden opportunity. 3 minutes in, the Union couldn't have asked for a better start. And what I find interesting about the Damiani miss, Jillian, is Danley John Jock, who I think had an excellent game, plays a beautiful ball for Frankie Westfield, who I don't know. I have a feeling, Jillian, that whether it's going to be me and Jose on the podcast, whether it's going to be you and Kyle on the one team we agree on, probably Mike Barrera of Across the Pitch, I think Frankie Westfield's going to be mentioned a lot in the second half of the season on all those shows. I think Frankie Westfield's going to continue to be mentioned on social media. I get so impressed with this kid. He continues to grow. He continues to get better. And his very first game, and again, I do have to give you your credit because a lot of these guys that we're seeing, whether it's a Neil Pierre, whether it's a Kevin Sullivan, an Andrew Rick, a Frankie Westfield, you saw these guys before they became known names with the first team. And so for somebody like myself who doesn't watch a lot of MLS Next Pro, watching Frankie Westfield make his debut against Orlando City last year and get an assist, I was like, oh, this kid's the real deal. But for somebody like you, yeah, maybe you're not too surprised by seeing the growth and the confidence level for Frankie Westfield. I mean, he's 19, 20 years old, I believe, Jillian, and he doesn't
20,
play. He
yeah.
doesn't play like he's a 20-year-old. He plays like he's a 26, 27-year-old. I mean, he's just so mature. He's so advanced for his age.
Yeah, no, 100%. And, when he was on Union 2, he was captain, and he really did well in that role. And even being a 20-year-old, he brings some leadership on the field there as well. And yeah, not surprising. And this is why I tell people, watch Union too. Even, watch the academy, watch these guys coming up, because you get to see them developing, and it's really fun. And when you see these guys make this step and you've seen the journey that they've done to get there, like Neil Pierre. Yeah. Fun fact, Neil Pierre was our first player, like current Union player. He was on Union 2 at the time, but he was our first one on our podcast as a guest. So that was pretty, he was like 16 at the time. Still really, really tall. But yeah, just seeing the journey these guys are on, and you guys listening out there, like, check them out. And the Union 2 game stream on YouTube. So you can easily see them there on OneFootball, but there's some talent coming up too. And when they make that jump to the first team, you know a little bit of what to expect. But I think when it comes to Frankie, he was, of course, we all know he was so close to going to Penn State. And then he, I think, made a decision that worked out really well for him, signing with Union 2. And then, of course, eventually going with the first team. But I think he's one that's just really come on and gotten even better than a lot of people thought. Because I knew he was good, but I think just how he jumped in there and made such a leap to, like, just making a difference really right away. I think that even surprised me a little bit, I knew he could do it, but really was impressed with how he's gone.
Yeah, and we'll, I'm sure, talk about Frankie Westfield and Kevin Sullivan for sure, and Neil here in a bit, because I do want to talk about the attack specifically. But just going back to that chance by Bruno and Damiani, he has multiple chances in this game to get a goal. It's a perfect ball played out wide for Frankie Westfield from Danley, and then it's a great cross into the box for Bruno, and then it's an easy save by Horvaths. And then a minute later, you see Red Bulls go down and score with Cade Cowell 1-1. And that goal that the Union conceded, we've seen them concede that type of goal so many times this season, where maybe it's the center backs being a little too aggressive. And look, we saw it under Jim Curtin too, plenty of times. When you play a pressing style system, you do want your center backs to be a little aggressive. You want them to press out and try and win the ball back. But yeah, as soon as Nate misses his tackle, then you're out of position. Now it becomes 3v3, 3v2 on the right side of the field, where Jafet Siri and Kai Wagner are kind of caught in no man's land, and a player with Emil Forsberg's quality to find a pass out wide, and it's a good finish there from Cade Cowell. But yeah, it's a high risk, high reward system. If Nathan Heavy wins the ball back, wins that tackle, and now the Union potentially break on the counterattack after they just had a chance with Bruno Damiani, and he doesn't convert. But then the biggest chance that I think this fan base isn't going to let him forget is Danley John Jock once again playing a forward ball in for Milan Olaski, who yet again plays another perfect ball in across the 18-yard box in the 44th minute. This time, not for Frankie Westfield, it's for Bruno Damiani. And yeah, that's one that he's got to finish. It could have sent the Union up 2-1 at the half. And yeah, Bruno, a tough task or tough ask in the first half of the game. And I don't know, maybe some surprising news for the fan bases. Yeah, once again, he plays a full 90 minutes, doesn't get substituted out. It's Olaski who actually comes out for Alado. Bruno plays all 90 minutes. And, I think that's a credit to Ryan Richter for trusting Bruno okay, yeah, you're right, Jillian. He's paid to get goals. But again, you look at what he does defensively, you look at what he does winning the ball in the air. Well, it was Bradley Cornell, and now it seems to be Ryan Richter too, just appreciating what he does off the ball, defensively specifically. And so, yes, again, you pay your strikers to score goals, but that's two coaches now that seem to appreciate what Bruno Damiani does off the ball. And I think maybe if the Union don't spend $3.2 million for Bruno Damiani last year for Nacional, then maybe this fan base is a little less judgmental on him, because it reminds me of Mikal Ua, if I'm being honest, Jillian, right? this fan base was very harsh against Mikel throughout his tenure in Philadelphia because he's not scoring enough goals. And then what do you see this season? Oh, we need Mikel back. We need Mikel back. And it's like, well, we've been telling you guys, he offers a lot to this team. Yes, he's not scoring the goals that you want, but he stretches the back line. And that's something that this team doesn't really have, in my opinion, yet. I know Milan Olaski is probably the best example of that, stretching the back line. But Bruno does offer you something, even if it isn't scoring goals. Like, I think there's plenty of players on this team that can step up and get goals, and getting Kai Wagner back, I think will only boost well for all strikers, not just Damiani.
Yeah, I think that having Kai back could also be really helpful to get Ezekiel Alado going as well. I think just bringing that dynamic could be huge. And again, I do think if Bruno gets a goal, okay, I think he will get in that rhythm because strikers are so streaky. And we're seeing it like even at Union too. Malik Jakupovic is like just on a cold streak right now. He's like kind of been how Bruno's been a little bit lately. He's getting in the right positions and doing some of the work, but just narrowly missing some things that he should, where he should score. So, I mean, that's how these things go sometimes. But I was thinking how similar it felt to Mikel Ua and all that unwarranted hate that Mikel would get. I mean, so I think that, Ryan seems to, want to give him a chance here and trust in him. He must be seeing things at practice, or whatever. But also I think Ryan's been pretty good about not just like sticking with his guys, and he's usually pretty honest when it comes to, oh, this guy needs to be better from what I've seen. So.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pull up some comments. I appreciate everybody who's commented so far. Again, it is a live call-in show, so if you guys have a question, comment, concern, just hit me up on Twitter at It's a Todd's Life. Hit the podcast up at Free Kick Pod. You can also DM on Instagram, and I'll also get you the link if you guys have questions, comments, or concerns for this game. If you guys don't want to call in, then of course I'll read your comments here on Twitter and Instagram. We have from Pyro. He says, Bruno has been a bit of a letdown, but we can't let one game define a whole player after a break like that. And then you had Jazz chime in and said, Bruno makes no sense in the system. Indiana playing out of position, in his opinion. Angel says, it's not one game that's the problem. It's 2 straight seasons. He can't find the net. Yeah, 7 goals last year, I believe it was, for Bruno Damiani. Only 1 goal so far this season. Pyros also says, I get a bit sad when I see Damiani in the starting 11, but I'm having faith he can make a comeback. Maybe I'm giving him a bit too much. And look, I'll be honest. I still have faith and belief in Bruno, because if you look at it, and I get it right, compared to you and Jillian, you and Kyle Jillian, he's more of the data nerd. But for the people that enjoy looking at data, like, he has a 4 XG, so 4 expected goals, and he only has 1. And if I'm not mistaken, Bruno had a 12 or 13 XG last year and wound up scoring 7. So that tells me that he finds himself in the right spaces constantly. But again, can't find the back of the net. And you pay your strikers to find the back of the net, and he had 2 multiple chances last night, and he can't convert. So we heard the reception there. We talked about the boos for Indiana Vassilev and Bruno Damiani. But the reception for Kai Wagner, Jillian, yeah, that was extremely loud last night. I'm not surprised by that reception at all. And I don't know if you got a chance, like, during the game when they were showing the close-ups on the big screen of the players. But yeah, you saw Kai Wagner. He was smiling. I think he was maybe a bit taken aback with that reception. I think him and his family know how loved and how much this fan base cherishes the Wagner family as a whole. But as a player, I can't imagine. You come back, you give up your dream playing in Europe. You're there for 6-7 months, and your family says they want to come back to Philadelphia. They miss New Jersey. They miss the neighborhood. We know how much the neighborhood, Kai Wagner would talk about his neighbors, how much they meant to him. And you see all the videos that his wife and Kai repost on Instagram, and just seeing the joy and the happiness of all these people seeing the Wagners back. And of course, you step foot into the stadium, you expect to get a reception. But I don't know if anybody expected the reception to be that loud that you can even hear Kevin Casey say the name. It was pretty emotional, Jillian.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised at the reception, but yeah, that loud. Oh my goodness. Like I said, he got even a louder reception than Kevin, who it's always like really, really loud for Kevin. So, I mean, that was something, but yeah, I mean, you could see how much it meant to him. And you know, how much being in the Philly area means to him and his family. And I appreciate that, I mean, Kai's from Germany, but, he's made this his second home, and bought in with not just, being on the Union, but I mean, he's always wearing like Eagles stuff, he's got like his Eagles and Phillies hat, and he's totally bought into that. I mean, he's kind of like the Bryce Harper of the group. But he's not just like pandering, he's totally bought in from what everything it looks like. So, I thought it was wonderful. And then of course, he just fit right back in, which was wonderful as well. So I think it was a combination of the fans are really, people love Kai, but also, hey, he's bringing something that was really missing to this as well. So to this team. So yeah, huge moment though. And I mean, honestly, it was almost like kind of give you chills, like watching that introduction. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And you had said it at the beginning of the show, Jillian, and we've heard Ryan Richter say it. We've heard, I'm sure Andrew Rick said it. I'm pretty sure Nathan Harry talked about it, the leadership. And John Shearer talked about it before this team went on break, that they need leaders. And John was very clear in what the Union needed. Said they needed a left-footed left back, and they go out and replace Kai Wagner with Kai Wagner. They need a set piece taker. Well, we know how deadly Kai Wagner is on set pieces, so there's two that are now filled up. Said that they need an attacker. We'll see if they go out and get an attacker. But I think more importantly, like, they need characters in the locker room. They need leaders. They need players that hold each other to the standards that this organization's been accustomed to the last 7-8 years. And you see Jazz say production and loyalty. He and Sebra set a standard for Philadelphia Union, and Jazz is absolutely right. I don't know if you agree, Jillian. I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've said it multiple times before Kai Wagner left. I said he was the greatest Philadelphia Union player ever. And him leaving to go to Birmingham City, watching him set the all-time assist record for the Philadelphia Union, I said, yeah, this cements his legacy as the greatest ever Philadelphia Union player. And now I think another step, him coming back, like you said, giving up his dream, takes it to a whole new level. I don't know if teams typically build statues of current players, but I feel like we're kind of approaching that status with Kai Wagner. I mean, if we're not going to do a statue outside of Subaru Park yet, can we at least put him in the Ring of Honor? He's been that good for the Philadelphia Union, and he tops it off with a performance as good as he had last night. What a player! And Union fans aren't surprised. I don't think Kai's surprised about it, but yeah, I mean, that's as perfect as you can play without playing a game in a couple months. And yeah, Kai Wagner was so good last night. Valerie said, why didn't Kai take all the corners? I was concerned and maybe a little bit confused by this too. Milan Alaski was on corner kicks as well last night. Were you confused, concerned? Just like a lot, I would imagine, fan base, Jillian, that Kai wasn't on every single corner?
I mean, really, he hasn't been back that long, although obviously he's so, used to playing with everybody, that I thought maybe it was just maybe a tactical thing that they were going for with that. Maybe they had some things planned out. But yeah, I was a little surprised though to not see him taking all of them. But again, I thought maybe it's a tactical thing, in certain situations here. So.
Yeah, you could be right. And nobody asked Ryan Richter that after the game. And there's a lot more to ask than why didn't Kai take every single corner kick? Maybe it's a question.
Something for the presser tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe something for the presser
tomorrow. There's a question for you, Jillian. I don't know if you're going down, but there you go. You're welcome. Thank Valerie for the question. But yeah, Quinn Sullivan had a big reception as well. I don't know whose was louder, Quinn's or Kai's. And Quinn joked with us after the game saying that, yeah, he wanted to go and try to equal that, if not have a little bit of louder reception than Kai Wagner did last night. But here's Quinn Sullivan subbing on for the first time in almost close to 300 days since his last appearance against DC United last September. All right, so you heard Kevin Casey there, 73rd minute. Quinn Sullivan subs on for Indiana Vasilov, who, hey, credit to Indiana last night, gets the goal. Was not expecting him to start. Creates a chance last night. I thought he played well, if I'm being honest, Jillian. 23 touches, which is probably what you want for Indiana Vasilov. Of course, we know his biggest attribute is pressing and winning the ball back, and yeah, I think Indiana Vasilov had a very, very solid game, and he's a player we know that is versatile. He can play as an attacking midfielder. He can play as a defensive midfielder. I believe Ryan Richter played him a couple times as a defensive midfielder during the preseasons in the second half of the season before the Union kicked off Wednesday night against Red Bull New York. But yeah, what a reception that Quinn got last night. And Valerie chimed in here. I saw it. She said, I got chills and teared out when Quinn came on. And yeah, that was pretty special last night.
Yeah, it really was. And I know Quinn said post-game that, it meant a lot to him, and that when he was, kind of running up, he felt like, felt to him like when Messi was coming, and how like the crowd just starts going.
Yeah.
And, he was kind of soaking that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, you knew it was going to be a big reception for him. I mean, we were at that DC game. We saw him go down. That was rough. And just to see him though make that comeback, I know, special moment there. And I think pretty much the lineup went the way Kyle and I thought it would. We didn't think Quinn would start, and we kind of figured Indy would probably be up in there. But I think once Quinn's like at full fitness, I think that starting position is definitely going to be his.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that we'll see it, I'm sure, multiple times this season of Cavan and Quinn, Frankie Westfield all on the field at the same time in the starting 11. I know we saw all three on the field last night, but yeah, I'm sure there's going to be multiple times this season where we'll see all three of them in the starting lineup, and I'm sure you can add Neil Pierre to that mix as well. And yeah, we saw Cavan and Quinn link up early on in this match. Thought we were going to see a magical goal between the two of them. Didn't come off, but I wouldn't be surprised, Jillian, if we see a couple goals between the Sullivan brothers. I was also thinking this morning, too, when I was heading to work, Declan and Ronan are also brothers of Quinn and Cavan, twin brothers, if I'm not mistaken, going to St. Joe's for college.
Yep, St. Joe's, yep.
I don't think either one of them are going to get a homegrown deal, because I believe one of their brothers actually out of the Union Academy now, or left the Union Academy.
Yeah, he was at FC Delco. Yeah, Declan.
And I was thinking, man, wouldn't that be a special moment if we could see all four Sullivan brothers on the field for the Union at one time? That would be insane. I don't think that's ever going to happen, but still, to get two brothers on at the field at one time, it's pretty special. I know this fan base at one point, all we heard was, yeah, Paxton Aronson's better than Brendan Aronson is at this age, and all the hype around Paxton, and this fan base never got the opportunity to see the two brothers play with one another, because when Paxton came up with the first team, they had sold Brendan. But yeah, we're seeing Cavan and Quinn play, and they will for sure, Jillian. I don't know when, but they will combine for a goal this season. Their chemistry is unmatched. But let's go ahead and talk about that Union attack. And we have mentioned it multiple times tonight. Frankie Westfield, Cavan Sullivan, Quinn Sullivan coming off. Neil Pierre gets a goal. This attack was pretty deadly. 24 shots total, which was the second most behind their game against Orlando City, where they had 26. 10 shots on target, ties the most shots this season one target with their game against Inter Miami, which was oddly enough their last game. But there was just multiple times, and I know Ryan talked about it, Jillian. I think I have this clip lined up. Yeah, I do. Where Ryan was talking about, the game plan coming into this was finding 2v1 situations against Red Bull because we knew that's where our best opportunities were going to come on this night. So here's what Ryan Richter had to say on attacking Red Bull and why the Union's attack looked so vital on the night against Red Bull.
When we looked at Red Bull and the way they defend, really aggressive when they lose the ball to try to win it back right away. Really aggressive when you play a negative pass. You can see 5-6 guys jumping this pass and trying to really go. So you have to play beyond that line, try to play in behind the last line. If we can skip and play into the pocket to create the 2v1 in a wide area, that was two of the options that we looked at before and we wanted to give the guys. And I think if you looked at the game, a lot of big chances came from these moments, whether in transition where either it came off and it was a 2v1 and you think Frankie's chance in the first half, Bruno's big chance in the first half, but there was also 2 or 3 more moments where it just didn't come off that could have led to this same situation. So we didn't execute exactly, but we looked really dangerous in a lot of these moments.
So again, as somebody who has covered every single Ryan Richter game with Union 2, how similar, and I get it, that the skill level is a lot different between Union 2 and the first team, but how similar did the attack for a Ryan Richter coach team look between the second team and the first team last night to you?
No, I mean, it looked pretty similar. And you have to remember, they have top to bottom, they kind of have the same game plan. They really are bought into that. So, I mean, it was pretty seamless. And so, yeah, that's really what Union 2 is doing as well. And they're still doing. So, yeah, it's been, and even at the academy level, so it's top to bottom, they're all bought into that. So, and I think Ryan, handles all this really well, having coached the first team, of course, before, but then, basically being in contact with Bradley Carnell constantly. And Bradley had said, of course, that, but, I do think that Ryan has a really good mind for the tactics. You notice in his responses and everything, he's very, detailed and yeah, like what Wolfie's saying here really breaks down tactics. And, having been in a million, Zooms and press conferences and things with Ryan, and in person, just all these, yeah, it's what you will, expect to hear. A lot of good tactical knowledge going on there. And he's also not afraid, like he'll be blunt with things too. So, I appreciate that as well. So I think the fans can expect to hear some good explanations when it comes to Ryan with his responses to questions.
And Jess says, I found his sub pattern interesting. And Ryan Richter, he's a coach, if I'm not mistaken, Jillian, that's not afraid to use his substitutes. We've seen multiple guys coming up through the academy during Ryan's tenure with Union 2 be given a chance. A lot of guys making their debuts because obviously that's their first chance at professional soccer. And Ryan, he's not afraid to take off star players. He's not afraid to change things up. I mean, Ryan Richter is a coach that takes risk, and he literally believes in every single player on his team.
Yeah, 100%. And you could really see that with the players, how they, play for him. And so I think that, and you see that change in energy with the first team now that he's taking it over. The players have been really bought in, and from talking to Andrew Rick and to Quinn, or not to Quinn, but to Kai, and talking to Nate, and all these guys, they're sharing how, it's just kind of a breath of fresh air. And, yeah, it's been huge. And I think it really helps too that, some of these guys Ryan coached when they were little. Like, I know Andrew Rick is one, Quinn, like a lot of them go way back with him. So I think that helps too with the personal relationships there. So.
And we talked about the attack, and we maybe didn't talk about Kevin Sullivan enough. So let's go ahead. You mentioned working with players at a young age. Kevin Sullivan, certainly one of those guys as well. And Ryan Richter is a guy who has all the confidence, all the faith, all the belief in the world for Kevin Sullivan. I mean, he said it to you last night that the performance we saw from Frankie Westfield and Kevin Sullivan, that's not their max. He knows that they could play a lot better than they did last night. And if that's true, and I'm not doubting Ryan Richter whatsoever, because I fully believe him. I know we've seen Frankie Westfield hit higher levels. I know Kevin can hit higher levels. But if you have a coach saying that, like, I know you can hit a higher level. Like, that was a great performance, but you can do so much more. That does wonders for your confidence. And I think we saw that last night with Kevin Sullivan, Jillian. He had a freedom to go out there and just be himself. Like, go out there, take risk. You have nothing to lose. Like, don't play so passive. Do what you do best, taking players on 1v1. Have the skill, have the flair. Go ahead and give the oohs and ahs to the crowd. It doesn't always come off, but you have the skill set to do that. You have the skill set to go out there and make something happen. And having a coach that believes in you, that gives you the freedom to go out there and do that, not only for Kevin Sullivan, but for this team as a whole, Jillian. You can see the confidence and the belief on those players that Ryan Richter, one game in, and I know he's had weeks practicing with them, and this was their first game action with Ryan Richter. And so I'm sure in practice, he's giving them the freedom, the belief. You've been down there multiple times. You've seen a little bit at practices. You've seen Ryan's practices with Union 2. I look at a player like DePaula with Union 2. I think he's a very skillful player. I think he's a player that has a very bright future ahead of him. And I'm not saying he is Kevin Sullivan, but yeah, he's a player that has a little flair to his game. And I think Ryan Richter is not afraid to allow players like a DePaula, like a Kevin Sullivan to go out there and just be yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And how he's handled Giovanni Sequeira as well as a good example. And I felt that being down at training, just the vibe felt so much different. Like they were like a little bit looser and just having fun, and I think that's big. I feel like, especially with the performance that, how things were going with the first half, I feel like a lot of weight was on Kevin, like to be the guy. And, having Kai back and having Quinn back, I think having some more pieces in there is going to help. And yeah, I think Kevin just has, I think he feels like a little less pressure here, and he can just go out and do what he's good at doing. And it's like, he's played a ton with Frankie and with Quinn and some of these guys, and just linking up with them with Neil. Like, you see that, and he just go back to, well, it's like what Quinn said, seeing what they can do, from playing in the backyard, when Kevin and Quinn link up. They just look like they're playing so much more loosely and, not having that weight on them.
And this isn't a shot at Bradley Cornell, and I don't mean for it to be a shot, but yeah, I mean, this team just seems like they have so much more confidence, and it's one game, and I know Ryan Richter and the players don't want to get ahead of themselves, but they're doing things like last night. They did things that I didn't see within the first 15 games of the season under Bradley Cornell. Yes, I know we saw 4 goals against Inter Miami. We saw a high performance scoring effort by the Union against both Florida teams, against Orlando City and Inter Miami. But defensively, they were a mess. And I thought it was interesting too last night that Ryan Richter said, yeah, when we had time to sit down as a coaching staff to look at what went wrong with this team defensively, there's a lot of pointless pressing. Like, yes, this team's not going to get away from pressing. There's pressing, and then there's just pressing just to press. And Ryan was saying that, yeah, like when we looked at it, a lot of the pressing, like these guys are getting themselves out of position, and let's go ahead and be safe. Let's be conservative with our energy. We don't need to press every single time. And so just the belief, the confidence, the mind of Ryan Richter. And again, we saw it as an assistant coach with Jim Curtin. I remember looking at Ryan Richter during his time as an assistant coach. He was the number 2 for Jim Curtin. He was running practices. Jim Curtin had that much belief in Ryan Richter to go ahead and lead the practices. And Jim even said that he's going to be an MLS coach one day. And yeah, maybe this may not be the way that Ryan Richter would have wanted to become an assistant, a head coach, an interim filling in. But that's not to say, Jillian, that Ryan Richter can't wind up getting this job. If he continues to get results, I know first game in, and we'll see what happens on Saturday against Seattle. But changing the culture, changing the belief, the confidence in this group, like that does wonders for teams.
Oh yeah, it gives you hope. And it was contagious. Like they score that goal. Milan gets that goal in the 9th minute, and you just see that weight come off them. But it's like, all right, and the crowd is into it. I mean, that's huge. And I think what was also important to note was the fact that, okay, they conceded the tying goal, but they didn't hang their heads. They just they kept going and they fought back, and then they got 2 more goals. And I think that was a big difference, from what I've seen, earlier this season. So I think that's big as well. But yeah, I think Ryan continues to have some success here. I don't see why he, couldn't keep this role. But yeah, I think so far they really seem to be buying into what he's doing. So I think that's huge.
Absolutely. So I see you in the studio, Woofy, but it says you got to go ahead and allow, I guess, your mic to be transmitted through your computer, phone. I don't. Oh, there we go. So Woofy, welcome to the Free Kick Podcast. I know, long-time listener, long-time commenter. Question, comment, concern about last night's game or anything Philadelphia Union so far this season. We hear you, Woofy. You're good.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep, you're
Yeah,
good.
we can hear you.
He can't hear us. We can definitely hear him. The chat can hear him.
Okay.
Can you hear us? Yes? No?
It sounds like there's a delay.
Oh, yeah, that happened last time with Jasmine. We'll go ahead and leave a pause, but if you can hear us, you can go ahead and ask a question, comment, or concern.
All right. So my question was, expecting we don't sell any players and this roster remains as is, do you expect the front office to sign someone during this summer window? And if so, what position would you both consider to be on the top of that list for the summer?
I'll let you take that first, Jillian.
Oh, that's a great question. It sounded like from when we were talking to John Shear, wasn't it? It sounded like things that they weren't necessarily done. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. Because if anything, I know some people think, oh, they need to get a striker that scores goals. But then what's that do for some of these players coming up through, like, say, Malik and Stash, But honestly, I could see them not making any other moves too here. So, but yeah, could they make maybe one more move? Possibly. But yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if they don't at this point.
Yeah, he didn't seem as committed to potentially getting a forward as, let's say, he did in his introductory press conference, Jillian. Again, we talked about it, what he wanted. He wanted a left-footed left back. He wanted a set-piece specialist. He wanted an attacker, a player that can score goals. And I would imagine that Duncan McGuire was probably one of the main targets for forwards. And because he winds up going to Houston Dynamo, and it was reported by Tom Bogert that the Union were interested in Duncan McGuire. Okay, well, if that's your top guy and he's no longer there, and I do wonder how much of bringing Kai Wagner back for $4.5 million, how much does that change your transfer plans? That is a significant amount of money to bring in a left back. And this team, we know, doesn't spend a ton of money. They just broke their transfer record this year with Ezekiel Alado, and now they go out and tie it with Kai Wagner. I know they have a ton of GAM left. They go and get $100,000 from Sporting Kansas City to get the number 1 spot in the waiver order, with them giving away the international roster slot to acquire Kai Wagner. So it makes no sense to me why you would go out there and get that money. It's not like holding on to this money is going to do you good in the future. And so I think the Union will go out there and do a move. I think it will probably be a fort in MLS. Will they pivot and look somewhere else that's not Duncan McGuire? Well, they have to, because Duncan McGuire is no longer available, no longer an option. Could they go out there and get a player that takes up an international roster slot? Potentially. John Shear said there's more to come on that. Whether that be a loaning of Ndinga, whether that be a loaning or a selling of Owethu Makanya. Maybe a player gets a green card. We'll see. But I think it's more than likely that the Union make a move in MLS. Who that player is, I don't know. Again, I said it a couple episodes ago that I'll have to go out there and see what potential forwards would make sense for this team. But if they go out and do something, which I fully expect them to do, I think it's going to be a forward. I hope Danley John Jock doesn't get sold. I know Jose and I had said it a lot that Danley we expect to be sold in the summertime. Getting called up to the national team with Haiti is a huge honor. Playing against Brazil certainly isn't going to hurt your stock. And I think Danley did well against Brazil. Does he stand out, set the world on fire? No, but he doesn't make himself look bad. He made it look like he belonged playing against Brazil. And a performance that he had last night, one of his best, if not the best this season. Yeah, I find it hard that the Union are going to have a difficult time keeping him a hold of this team. I hope they do. I hope he sees out the rest of the season with the Union, and then come the wintertime, you pivot and bring in another midfielder. But you said if they don't sell anybody, yeah, I'm assuming that they'll go out and get a forward. If you move on from a Danley John Jock, then I would imagine probably a midfielder, Wolfie. But yeah, that's what I expect. And Jillian gave her opinion, so we appreciate the comment, question, concern. Anything else, Wolfie, you want to add? I know I muted you, and then I try to unmute you, but I guess because you muted yourself too, it won't let me unmute your mic. So, any questions, comment, concerns, or?
No, those are great answers, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much, Wolfie, for joining us. But again, Jillian and I are hosting this live for people who are just listening to the RSS feed. We say it all the time. If you guys want to go ahead, comment, questions, concern, comment every time I go live on the podcast, whether it be on YouTube, whether it be on Twitter. So we love interacting with you guys. I know Kyle and Jillian do as well with their podcast, even though they're not live yet. Hopefully that changes. But again, if you guys want to get in here with your questions, comments, concern while we're still live on Twitter and Instagram, or Twitter and YouTube, sorry, hit me up on Instagram or Twitter, whether that be at Free Kick Pod or at It's a Todd's Life on Twitter, at It's a Todd's Life _ on Instagram. But Ryan Richter, I'm super confident about what the future looks like for him. And Philly River says, bring back Gazdag, who scores a goal last night, Jillian. Scores a penalty. Surprise, surprise for Columbus Crew.
Of course.
Would you bring back Gazdag?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I like Gazdag. I mean, if the price were right, maybe, but
I don't think I'd bring him back.
I don't think so. Yeah.
I just don't see how he fits. I really don't see how he fits in this team.
I don't either.
Once Quinn gets fully fit, I expect Quinn to get majority of the minutes as the attacking midfielder. Cavan, there's no reason for him not to start the rest of the season. So I feel like Cavan's probably going to be a locked-in starter the rest of the year. Augustine Anello, I think, is going to play big minutes, whether that be up top or as another number 10. If Vasilev plays as well as he did last night, then he'll continue to be a contributing player to Ryan Richter's team. So, yeah, I find it hard where Daniel Gazdag would get into this team, if I'm being honest, Jillian.
Yeah, no, I agree. And honestly, I feel like getting Olaski was like an upgrade there anyway. So, yeah, it's unfortunate for Gazdag that, things haven't gone, super well for him. I was thinking about Carranza as well. Just don't let him leave Subaru Park when he's there, right? But no, oh yeah, we miss having Julian Carranza there. But
I'm gonna be so mad if they don't make him available in the mix zone when Nakasa come. Like, they have to make him, regardless of the game, regardless of the result, regardless if Julian Kranza starts or not. You got to make him available to the media.
100%, 100%. So, yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to, honestly. So, but yeah, just do the whole just switching locker rooms thing while he's there, right? Just bring him back. No, but I'm excited for if he does play, the ovation he'll probably get. So, yeah.
Jay says would never happen in terms of Julian Kranza, but they should call Atlanta for Emmanuel Latte Lot. His skill set would fit Philly style better. Can't be worse than Bruno at finishing. Yeah, but the Union, I'm going to look it up because he's making, what, $3 million, I believe? A little over $3 million. With his salary, 3.7. There's no way that I see the Union paying 3.7 for Emmanuel Latte Law unless they consider covering a significant amount of that contract, which, yeah, if he moves within MLS, they probably will, if I'm being honest, Jillian. But I don't know what team in MLS is really going to consider picking him up unless Atlanta winds up seeing a significant amount of that contract covered. So I see it more likely that he winds up getting sold back to whether it be the championship or someplace else in Europe, while I'm trying to stall to see how long Latte Lot signed for. I'll go ahead and play a clip from Kai Wagner talking about how his message to the team this week was, let's go ahead and reset. Let's forget the first 15 games of the season, and let's go out and take this one game at a time.
Yeah, I talked this week a lot with the players that they need their belief back. Their belief wasn't there like the last couple of months, and I said just let us do a restart. Restart the first 15 games or how many they played before. Doesn't matter anymore. We have to look now from game to game, and everybody said now the first game is Red Bulls, nobody else. Now the next game is Seattle, so we have to go on Saturday in there, recover now good. Don't think about too much about this game because that was all about mentality today. And I think if we show this mentality from game to game, we need the fans on Saturday again, and fans can expect a lot more. But today was the first step.
Yeah, mentality. Mentality is a big thing, Jillian, and this team just being down in training a couple times, seeing the smiles, seeing the laughter after the game, seeing the smiles on the field, in the locker room, between the players and all the coaches. That's a feeling that we have not felt, I would say, all season long at Subaru Park.
Yeah, absolutely. It was, winning will definitely lift the spirits, but they are definitely a totally different vibe. And we haven't seen that in quite some time. So that was good to see. And, we had the return of all the kids too behind us there in those presser, which was always fun. But you can see how much it means for him to be back. And they're resetting. So that's huge. And hopefully that'll continue as they go into playing Seattle this weekend. Yeah.
Wolfie says he's all for the Union getting Prince Owusu. Valerie also says Prince Owusu. So I don't know. We'll see. Do the Union go out and potentially make a move for a Prince Owusu, Emmanuel Latte Lot? Like Jay said, we shall see. I know somebody else wants to get in here with a question. So while I get the invite sent out there, let's go ahead, Jillian, and talk about Ryan Richter just wanting to enjoy this moment. Yes, his very first win as Philadelphia Union interim coach. But let's temper our expectations and remember that it's just one game. And so this is Ryan Richter trying to reset those expectations that, yes, this is enjoyable. Let's find the positives. But let's remember, it's one game, Seattle Sounders, one Saturday.
It's positive momentum, and like I said, you could feel the energy in the stadium from everyone that was involved, and it's so important for us to start this in the right way. But again, it's one game. So we turn around in a couple days and play again, and we have to approach with that same fighting spirit in the next game. But for the first game, for me, it was all positive.
All positive. And I agree, right? The Union, for sure, we talked about it at the beginning. Jillian could have finished off a couple more chances, whether it be Damiani, whether it be Westfield. But 3 points are 3 points.
Yeah, no, that's huge. And I mean, what a dream start for Ryan there. So, yeah, hopefully they keep building on that. And I know it's easy to get sucked up in like, oh my gosh, we're so back, right? That whole attitude. But no, hopefully they continue it though. We'll see, but there's definitely belief amongst them right now. So that's big.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's go ahead. I know last time Jose and I went live, he joining us once again. He is Philly Pete, this time with the camera working. What's up, Pete?
Hey, guys. Hey, Jillian. Hey, Todd. I was just wondering if Jillian happened to be on the cruise ship last night. I think this is, the game, we had Kai return, we had the Quinn return, we had the Neil Pierre, huge game. But the start of the cruises last night, was it did not go unnoticed, and I think this could be the start of something. Are they coming back on Saturday? What's the deal with that? Is this going to be fully embraced, or is it going to be open to everyone? Because I mean, it's a pretty cool thing that they're doing, that they're teaming up with these new cruise ships and stuff. Any details there from Jillian or anyone?
I am not important enough to be on that, unfortunately. No, no. It feels like there was more of a one-off kind of thing, but maybe that's something that they could do in the future. I mean, obviously had a really positive response from people, but, yeah, I know the people that were on it was a lot of like influencers, and also, people, there were season ticket members that won the trip, got to be on the trip, from like a raffle. So, and I thought, so like Will Shipley was on it from the Eagles, so that's pretty cool. But no, they had a few people in there. But looked like a good time. And I think that's something that if they could make that a more, common thing, that would be great. What a way to get down to the games. So yeah, from what I understand though, I don't know of any plans for it to be like done again, but who knows?
Yeah, I'll just echo what Jillian said and add something. From talking with people, they said, yeah, it's a one-time thing. Maybe it can become more regular, but the cost of that quite expensive from what I heard, and I don't know if fans, maybe your ticket would be included or something, but yeah, I mean, I feel like you're going to have to get at least 50 people to cover a significant cost of that. And then the other part too, I didn't know about this, but apparently like the part of the Delaware near Subaru Park is super shallow. And so the boat had a tough time coming in to dock the boat. So.
Oh man, maybe Essington might be more manageable if you're just down the street. We could have Kyle captain the ship down the a couple blocks down the road.
Yeah, I was thinking if we're going to do cruise ships from Philly, maybe Jillian and Kyle can go ahead and pitch doing Amish rides from Lancaster down to Subaru Park.
Oh, gosh. Yeah. Gosh, we passed so many buggies on the way to the game yesterday, too. No. You know how long that would take? Oh, boy.
Hey, look, we'll get the boat to travel fans to the stadium. Obviously, they'll have a difficult time docking in front of Subaru Park. So let's find some place where it's deep and then have the Amish horse and buggy them to the stadium. That way they can get the best of both worlds in Philadelphia.
There you go. There you go. Well, all my answers are received there. So thanks, guys. I'll see you Saturday. Go Union. Beat Seattle. Thanks, guys.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Pete.
Thank you.
But yeah, we enjoy it, right? Whether it's Jose, whether I can speak for you, Jillian. I know you guys love the interaction. So people calling in, questions, comments, concerns about the Union game last night, the Philadelphia Union season in general. It is something that we want to go ahead and do a little bit more of. And so we appreciate everybody, whether it be on the chats tonight, whether it be people calling in. Something that Jose and I want to do more of for the rest of the season. And I get it, right? Maybe it's a little bit intimidating calling in with a question, comment, concern, and you don't have to put your camera on like Pete, right? The last time we've done this, people have totally had their camera off, which is totally fine. I get it. So yeah, we love the interactions. We love what all you guys offer. And again, going back to Ryan Richter, just setting the expectations, not wanting to get too ahead of themselves. Big game on Saturday against Seattle Sounders. That's a team that's struggling. And I don't think any of that's going to matter to the Union. The only thing that's going to matter to Ryan Richter and the players is let's focus on ourselves. Let's go ahead, continue to get our mentality right. Let's go out and start hot on the front foot like we did against Red Bull New York. And let's be a little bit more clinical. But yeah, let's just focus on what we can control. And that's our mentality. And so Ryan Richter, 1 for 1 so far for the Philadelphia Union. Let's see if he can make it 2 for 2 on Saturday against Seattle Sounders. Jillian.
Yeah. And that'll be the key. Like, so I think that you have a big opportunity against a struggling team here, playing at home. The fan base is getting bought back into it. So got to seize that. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm excited for it. And it's going to be an interesting night because Union 2 play at 7:00
Doubleheader.
at the same time. Yep. So they're at Chattanooga. So Kyle's going to be at the Union game and I have a swim meet to coach at. So I'm going to be at that. And then I'm going to be watching the Union 2 game and then watching the first team as well, but from home.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before I have you plug your social media and whatnot, Jillian, Valerie says, how about the train that goes right through the SUB campus? Yeah, I do wish that they could figure out the train situation, make it a little bit better from Philadelphia into Chester. I do think you would get a lot more city people if you could figure out that train a little bit better. And then Jazz says Sounders are beat up, many are out, opportunities knocked. And I believe Jackson Reagan, correct me if I'm wrong, Jazz, I believe he's going to be out for this game for Seattle Sounders. So yeah, that's a big miss for Seattle, but an opportunity for the Union to potentially take advantage of. But Jillian, anything you want to plug, anything coming up for the one team we agree on? I know you're writing, it seems, 10 articles a week. I know you've hit 400 or over 400 articles now, which is a lot more than a lot of people, and it's a lot faster than a lot of people. So congrats on that, and absolutely killing it from the academy all the way to the first team.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. We've just did our 196th episode of the podcast. So we're getting close to that 200 mark, which is crazy. And I have a preview article for Union 2 out tomorrow. Also, we are getting some guests lined up on our podcast. And for people that appreciate college soccer, we have something coming up that will have to do with St. Joe's. So something that I think people will enjoy that's in the works. So yeah.
That's awesome. And if you guys aren't following the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook, follow at Free Kick Pod, wherever you get your podcast, The Free Kick. Check out the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Free Kick Pod, live every single podcast. Also, check out the goals breakdown video, which I have not started making that, and I'll make it when I come home from work tomorrow and probably get that post it pretty late on Friday, but it's Ryan Richter's first game as Philadelphia Union head coach. Like, he needs a goals breakdown video, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'll try my best to get that posted late tomorrow. I am proud that before we went live, that I was able to get an article written and posted. And speaking of articles, if you want to check out my articles, goals breakdown video, or the podcast all in one place, thefreekick.substack.com. Again, you guys, an hour, 14 minutes in, obviously know Jose Nunez. I got to check in with Jose. I'm not sure if he's available on Sunday night or not, but regardless, we should have a podcast Sunday night, if not Monday, depending on what Jose's schedule is like. But we appreciate it, whether it be myself and Jose here at the Free Kick, whether it be Jillian and Kyle of the one team we agree on. We know we get a lot of the same listeners of the show. We know there's a lot of people that appreciate what we do, and we love the interaction. We love collaborating with each other. We love seeing each other succeed because, let's face it, there's a lot of news to be covered with this organization, and you can't do it all on your own. So it's great to work with people, consider people like Jillian and Kyle as colleagues, but even better, considering them friends and hanging out with them outside of games at Subaru Park. So I appreciate all that they do with helping me. I appreciate all the work that they do covering this team. And again, I know you guys all enjoy that as well, as my watch continues to just be blown up by Philly Rivers' better half, as I get every single article liked on social media, on Substack. So I appreciate that, Hoagie. But we'll see you guys, like I said, either on Sunday night or on Monday. And hopefully Ryan Richter and the Philadelphia Union can make that back-to-back wins. But with that said, my name is Todd, and this is the Free Kick Podcast.